Welcome everybody, and this is episode 4 of our basic series, and today we're actually going to be placing down a claim. Now, in the early episodes we went through the interface, we went through harvesting up materials, and basically doing the exploration and upgrading our tools. Now, by this point, hopefully you've gone out there and collected a bunch of resources so you have plenty to work with. And also, when we come into our recipe journal, go to Tinker's Workshop. Right here we have claim flag and attach claim flags. We want to at least make the claim flag, but this actual tutorial that I'm going to go over, I'm going to show you how to place the claim flag and how to actually put the attachment claim flags onto the primary claim flag to be able to expand your actual space that you can work in. Now, I've already gathered up a bunch of resources, and I'm going to go ahead and track these two so that we can kind of go over what you're going to need. Now, to get to the point where you can actually have attached claim flags, you will need at least the iron pick and the tin axe. Those are your basics, just to be able to get the materials to have attached claim flags. To get your primary claim flag, all you will need is your basic tool set. But we want those little extras, so just so I could be able to show you the actual attachment claim flags, how they attach, and how you can actually place those attachments next to each other. So I went ahead and we already upgraded to the iron and the tin axe so that I could be able to get these materials. Now, once you have all the materials you need to be able to make, in this case, 3 attached claim flags, we also have the primary claim flag too. So I have all those resources. Now, let's go ahead and make those claim flags so we can go ahead and place them down and get to the point where we can actually build. So here is where you want to be to create those, and that is the Tinker's Workshop. And then you can find this right there at that central hub, central spire area. And let's go ahead and double click on this to bring up its menu. And you can see I can make up to 47 because I got a lot of materials. And so let's go ahead and craft that that claim flag. Make sure you have enough, which is 300 copper and 1 heartwood. Heartwood comes from regular trees, and of course our copper comes from the top level or a tier 1 area. And so here we go. We have created it. It should be in our bag now, and there it is. And as for attachments, it costs a little more, but it's reasonable. And the materials are actually kind of easy to find. They're primarily found in your tier 1 top level, or down into the cave systems just below that. We have iron, we have elemental iron, we have tin, elemental tin, agate, aquamarine, toluene, and heartwood, which is pretty much all the same materials that we used to actually do our upgrades in the previous video for our iron pickaxe and the tin axe. So we're able to just farm up that extra so you can be able to make the attachment claims. And in this case, I'm going to make 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and craft those. Now, the amount of attached claims will actually increase over time, and you'll be able to put down more. The way it has been presented to me is the more you play, the more of a chance that you'll be able to craft other attached claim flags. How this part of the system is going to be implemented is not exactly clear yet, but for the time being here in the beta, you have a set amount that you'll be able to create, and which is 2 primary claim flags that you can have on your person, and then you also have your you'll be able to have 5 attachments to one, and on the other one you'll have, I believe, 2, and that is, if I can remember correctly, at this current moment. Or you can move those attachments around to where you can have 3 on one and the other amount on another one. So we've made our flags. Now it's time to actually find a location to be able to put them down in the world, and so we can get to the point where we can start building. So it's kind of up to you at this point. You can either stay on your tier 1, and in this case I am actually located on an island that is old growth forest here in the center, which is indicative of that dark green color. And then we have this light green color, which is indicative of the regular jungle. So I can stay on this island, or I could go somewhere else. I can go to another location that may have different types of biomes, such as tundra or the desert, and we can pretty much pick and choose depending on where we want to go. And that's just by jumping onto that big stone that's in the center of the hub. Click on it and the menu will come up, so you can travel to other islands and maybe find something that's a little bit better and more appropriate to you. Now, when you're actually trying to find a good location to put down a claim, I like coming into map view and looking around, and for some reason I'm getting little rays, and let me reload here. And you can reload your screen by hitting Alt Enter and then hitting Alt Enter again, and it will cycle reloading all the meshes and textures and stuff. But I like coming in here and actually looking around at the land itself, because a lot of times you can find some really nice flat land to put down a claim, or say you want to have it up on top of a mountain. It's pretty easy to find exactly the location that you're wanting based on those little areas, and having the map view is excellent for that. In this case, I would like to have some flat land, and I would normally want to stick around the hub or the ley lines just for ease of use and being able to get around traveling. You don't have to travel as far, but you don't always have to have that. I mean, you can go out in the middle of nowhere if you wanted to. And as you can tell, some people like building next to the ocean. Here on the outside, maybe their particular type of build needs water. Now, I'm going to try to pick something that's halfway flat and something that will be easy for me to explain how to place these claims down. So give me a moment here. Let me see if I can find something. And I think I know where I want to go, and it's probably out here in the jungle, over here by where this little lake bed is. So let's go right here. I'm going to hold Control and then click on the map to put a marker. Hit my M key to take off my map view. And let me kind of scroll around to see if I can find. There it is. There's my marker. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time for me to get there. So, as I'm traveling, I'll kind of go over kind of the basics of claims. For one, claims are pretty much at a set size. You have a central point, and that central point is the first primary claim flag that you place down. Each claim is 250 voxels high by 175 by 175, and so it's tall, and then it has a base that is more of a square, so it's kind of a rectangular vertically and with a square type base all the way around it. And I'll be showing an image of that hopefully right about now. but everything has to attach to the primary in some sort of wet fashion. The only outside of that is you can only go but so far away from an attachment. And as far as we know, that is pretty much how it's going to stay. Okay, so we finally made it. We're back and we're here, and we finally made it over to our little marker location. I'm going to bring up my map just to show you where I'm at. I have some pretty nice flat land here, and there's the central hub that I came from, so it was kind of a bit of a walk to get here. But there will be a ley line system at some point placed in, so we'll be a little bit closer. We can be able to go to the ley lines instead of having to go all the way back to the central hub. And that is currently in the works, and hopefully, if you're watching this now, it'll already be in place. Okay, so hit my M key again to close out my map. But here I am. Let me go ahead and hold down Control and click on my marker to get rid of it. So I'm here now, and I have some, like I said, I've got some pretty nice, decently flat land over here, so it's really easy to kind of work with. Now, at this point, we're going to go ahead and place the claim, and we'll go kind of walk through on how to, move this box around, exactly where we want it on our location. And it's pretty much exactly where we want that for it to be at, just by doing the manipulation. But I want to kind of go over one thing right quick. If we go back into map mode, here at the very top you'll see show claimable land. If we put a check in there, you can see a lot of this area turns red. These are areas I would not be able to put down claims, and for one reason or another. Either someone already owns that area or has already placed a claim in that area, or, such as up here close to where I'm at, you see these small little red areas. These small little red areas are pretty much indicative of cave systems. And they will let you know that there's a cave system there, so you can't place a claim right on top of a cave that already exists. So let's get out of the map view and go back into our overhead here, so we can kind of look around and try to pick out a really good spot. And I think I'm standing right in a really good one here. So let's bring up our inventory by pressing I. And there's our claim flag and our 3 attachments. Now, let's place down the primary claim first, and we'll go over, controlling the little box to get it exactly the way we want to here. Let's right-click the claim flag, and it puts me into that almost map mode look here. And I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel so I can get in there a little closer to see how far down into the world my claim is, and it's sitting about halfway. I don't want that. I want to raise that claim flag up so that it's a little bit closer to the surface, and to do that I'm going to hold down my control key, scroll my mouse wheel to bring this up. You can see it starts turning white here at the ground. That means that the base of my claim is slightly above the ground itself, so I want to sink it down in just a little bit. And also take note of the surrounding area. Are there pitfalls that kind of go down like this around the surrounding area? And I'm thinking of where the bottom part of my claim is. If I extend it out, will it still be underground as the farther out I get? And that is something that's really kind of important, because when you start putting attachments onto it, you don't want to have part of your claim still sitting above the actual ground that is around it. So we're going to recess this down into the ground just a little, get it in there. Hopefully you can kind of see that here at the bottom of my little box here. Part of it is kind of recessed. There should be like a little white line there. Recess it down just a little bit so that when we do put the attachments onto it, the attachments will also be down in the ground a little bit. So I think I'm pretty much exactly where I want it to be. And I'm going to click my left mouse button at this point. Here, it actually tells us, this is, you've placed your claim, you have a certain amount that is already upkeep paid, which is for 24 hours, so we'll have to pay basically like a rental fee, for the use of that claim area. And it tells you how much the actual rate per day is, and right now it's $300 for just the primary. And it'll tell you when it was due, and etc. Here we're going to hit confirm, and bam, it's there. And it basically goes over the building tips, such as, like certain hotkeys and stuff like that, which we will go over pretty much a little bit at a later date or in another episode. And that's going along with all the different tools that you have just received by placing down a claim flag. So let's go ahead and close this out. And it brings up our claim management window. This is where you pay rent. This is how you pay for what it is that you've placed down. And you'll have to come back here, every few days to pay your rent or pay your upkeep. And to access this actual claim management window, we press U, which to get in here. Now, this window also allows me to name my claim. So I've got it right here, Tema 3's claim number 1. Let's name this primary. And this will let me know that this was my first. This is, gives me somewhere I can, kind of go back to if I need to do like security upkeep or add people's names to the claim, etc. Then we have a description. Let's go, this is the primary claim. And I can put tags in here to set it up to where other people can find it. And in this case, I'm just going to say tutorial claim. And then I'm going to save it. Now, this puts it onto the gallery so that other people can find the claim if they do a search for certain keywords. And of course, we have the name has changed from number 1 to primary, so we know that it has saved it. Here on the outside, over here, this is where you pay your upkeep. You pay your rental fee. And enter prepayment amount, days of 4. I'm going to go ahead and pay this 1,200 copper for 4 days for this single claim, so that I have enough upkeep in there when I go to put my attachment claims onto it. So you can either pay with SOE cash or SC cash, or pay with the copper. Most people pay with copper just because, well, the other is real money. So let's go ahead and pay our upkeep, and we should be set to go now. And after this, don't click the delete claim. Bad mojo. And then here on this tab is security, and this is where you can add other people. And in this case, I'll put my primary account's name up there, and then set it to builder and click add, and that puts that character up there. I'll add my other account, which is Tema 2, as builder, click add, and that way both of those characters can come over and work in my little area and do things that I need things to be done there. So here at the top of it, we have public security levels: no access, visitor, customer, decorator, and builder. For the most part, don't use these bottom two for your open public security level. Leave it to visitor or no access. In this case, I think I'm going to set it to visitor, and I'll leave it right there, and we'll go ahead and exit out. Now if I go into my map view and scroll back, it's kind of hard to see it here, but there's actually a flag that is associated with your character. For over here, you can see these are basically you have no permissions of any kind type of claims. In other words, if I went over there, I couldn't do anything on them. Over here, there's actually like this gold flag, and this gold flag is indicative of your claim. And if I moved away from the claim, I'd be able to see the little blue flag or gold flag there. Here in map view, you also have the ability to turn on and turn off flags here at the top. You can turn on ones with permissions, no permissions, and also the PvP locations. Let's get out of that. Now, if I look around, I really don't see anything. How do I know this is, what area I can work in? If we go back into map view, we can see there's nothing there to turn on and turn off to be able to see that box that's now in the world. But here at the very top, we have this little drop down. If we click that, you can see a little checkbox that says claim borders. Let's turn that on. Now if I look around now, I see a box on the ground. You can see it's down into the ground, so we're good. We can actually work in this area. Now let's kind of scroll in here, and for the most part, you can either leave all these trees in here and work around them so it looks like it's kind of part of the land, or you can clear it. And you can go over to any of these trees now and either move it in a direction, wherever you want to. You can rotate, and you can also do sizing of those items. Or you can right click it and press delete to get rid of those items inside the claim. You cannot do that outside in any other area. But here in your claim, you pretty much have full control of what goes on in this area. But let's go ahead and clear this out, or at least for the most part. And most of these little plants you can get rid of. But any of these really small plants you will not be able to, because it's the type of grass or texture that is on the ground. And we've got this thing cleared out pretty good now. I think I'm going to leave the ones on the outside edge. Now, so we now have a primary claim. But maybe this isn't big enough for what I want to build. Maybe I want to expand it and make it a little bit bigger. So now let's go ahead and place some attachments. Here, this is where it starts getting a little tricky, but you can kind of understand it once we get into it. I go into my inventory. I have my attachment claim flags that I created over at the main hub. I can right click this now, and if I move my camera around, you can see all the locations you can place that attachment claim. And let's scroll in a little bit more. You can see I'm standing in the primary claim, which is right in the center, but I can go to the top of it, to the sides. I can even put it down below, underground, if I wanted to. So all of these locations I can place one in. Now, which way you want to go is kind of up to you, but I would advise taking a good look at the land, and that line right here, you can see how far down into the ground it goes. Take careful note of that, because there are some areas that may end up being in a place where you don't want it to be. In other words, up above the ground. So let's go ahead and pick one, and we're going to place that down. And I think I'm going to add it to this side here. I'm going to confirm. And boom, there it is. And look, the actual square has now become like a rectangle here on the bottom. Now, At this point, maybe I don't want a rectangle. Maybe I want a square area that I can work in, or an elongated area that I can work in. Now, if I go into map view here, you can see there's my attachment claim. This is primary and this is attachment. And maybe I want to make a box like this. Now, it can be done. So let's go back into regular view, and I'm going to go into that attachment to place down my next claim. Let's go back into inventory and right click attachment claims. Now if I scroll in now, you can see the placement is a little different. It's not all the way around it like it was for the primary. So this is the primary that's located over here, so we can't place there, but we can place on top and the sides and the bottom now. So to make my square, I'm going to have to go this way. So I'm going to click here and confirm. Now if I go in there, we have like a little angle shape, and now we have one more placement which we can place here. So let's go back in here. Now when you're placing claims, if I hit I right now, I can't put it in that last little corner to make my square, because I'm not standing in an adjacent square or claim to be able to place it down. It will only allow me to attach to just this one. So if I go back in inventory and let's bring up that window, and if I zoom in, you'll see this claim is already placed. This one is already placed. I can go down, I can go up, or I can go to the side. But that's it. That's as far as I could go with this. So let's hit escape to get us out of that. But if I go into this one and do the same thing, you'll see that that option opens up for that other corner. Now you can either put down this claim from either the one that's on this corner or the one that's on this corner. And being that I am in the corner now, I can place it here. But maybe I don't want it there. Maybe I don't want a square. Maybe I want to go off the other side of my primary. Well, we have to go back into the primary to do that. So if we come over here, now click on our attach claim, you can see those other options open up, such as going upwards, down, or to those other sides. And now I can make like a little zigzag pattern if I wanted to in my claims just by placing it here. Or maybe I just change my mind again and I go back to I want a square. And in this case, I'm going to place it right in that last corner. I'll hit confirm. Now if you notice, every time you put down a claim, that upkeep charge goes up. So let's go back into our upkeep management window, which is U. And you'll see that now for the same amount of days of 4 or 3.7 days, it's now going to cost me 4,500 copper for that 4-day period. And I can either go ahead and pay it now or not. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and pay it. So now, current supply of copper ore tells me how much copper I have currently on hand. Current rate per day, which is 1,200 copper per day, and then the upkeep balance, which has already been paid up to full of 6,000. So I am pretty much, upkeep is prepaid for right at 6 hours or 6 days. So we're good. We're gold at this point. And now it kind of goes to the next part, which is when I placed the primary claim down, I received all of my tools for building. And at this point, these are all the tools that you will receive, and of course the add tool, which you got in the very beginning. Most likely you'll want to take all of these tools and drag them down to your hotbar. And this way you'll have easy access to get a hold of them. And where you place them and how you place them is kind of up to you. You can kind of change things around if you wish. But I would advise never dragging them to the trash can or dragging them out here into the world, because you can easily delete them. And at this point, they're to get them back, you'll have to go to the chest that's up at the hub. There's a chest there. You can open it up to get those items back. So at this point, we've got everything we need. Now we can get down and dirty and actually start doing our build. And that will end this tutorial, and we'll see you in the next one.